All right, so today we're going to be working through the 4.1 online banking simulation. When you click on that link, there are two things that you'll need to open up. The first is this NGPF, the Next Gen Personal Finance Online Bank Simulator. That will bring you to something that looks like this, and then click on the Google Doc link and obviously make a copy and change the title of that to your last name and then the online banking. All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to practice using an online banking interface as if this were our own account. Now, obviously, this is just a simulation, so we're not putting any of our own information in. We're not putting in our own name, our own address, certainly not any of our own banking information. This is just a simulation, so we're going to use the information that's provided. All right. So on the simulation page, you'll click the orange get started now. If you exit out of this in the middle of it, there I believe will be a additional button here that says continue, or if you ever make errors and it's just easier to start over, you can come back and restart the whole simulation with this orange button. All right. So it says that we've opened up an account. You can see that we have a checking account and a savings account. You can see that we have 216.04 for our available balance in checking and $230 our available balance in our savings. All right. However, if I go into my account activity, all right, you'll see that by selecting checking account, moving back to the earliest date, I actually started with $250. And with savings, if I move back to the opening amount, okay, that was $250 as well. So I can toggle between these two accounts. All right. Also, as we go through this, if you need to look at a statement, okay, there will be monthly statements for checking and savings as well that you can click. All right. Heading back to home, again, we can see that we have 216.04 and checking 230 in savings. So as I go through this, it'll ask, what is your current balance for each? Is this more or less than what you started with? So in other words, again, if I go to view account, right, I open with 250, so I have less now. In savings, similarly, I started with 250, so I have less. So in both cases, I have less than what I started with. All right. For number two, it says you want to make sure your account reflects spending you've actually done. So you pull your receipts out of your pockets from the last few weeks. You find two from Snack Shack and one from a sale at Cool Clothes. So if I head back here, okay, there's the transaction for Cool Clothes, the two receipts that I have for Snack Shack, those are both there. But I also have this Streamwave videos. All right. So it says, are there items in the checking account that you don't have receipts for? In this case, yes, we do. This Streamwave videos. Why might that happen? So why might there be a transaction that the bank has recorded that I don't have a receipt for? Well, there's lots of reasons why, right? Maybe the most obvious explanation would be I lost the receipt. Maybe it was a digital purchase in which there was no receipt. Maybe in the most nefarious uh, explanation is that somebody else has accessed my account and has made a purchase from my funds. It could be that the bank made an error. There's lots of explanations why. In this case, if we look at the transaction, okay, Streamwave, right, that kind of suggests streaming videos, so it's probably an online purchase. Also, this circular icon would seem to indicate that it's a recurring transaction. All right, so it may be a subscription that will recur every month. And if I look at the upcoming bills, sure enough, Streamwave videos for $6.99 on the 6th of every month. All right, so it does seem to be a recurring purchase. So it probably is a digital purchase that I've made, a subscription that I've made, where I don't have a physical receipt because I'm not making the purchase in person. All right. Um, Number three, to get the full swing of things with online banking, you set up a direct deposit with your job at Burger Bucket. You want to verify it's working correctly and know that you're supposed to be paid twice a month. So use the blue calendar at the top right to advance 1 month into the future. Then view your checking account again. So if I come up here, if I advance 1 month, all right, notice that my account balance in my checking account has gone up. Savings still remains at 230. All right, view account, and I see, look at this, payroll direct deposit on the 21st, payroll direct deposit on the 4th. And depending on when we're doing the simulation, those dates may not be completely accurate. They change based on when we're doing this. So if I were to do this, if I was working ahead and I did this yesterday or even the day before, those dates might be 2 days earlier. If I did it tomorrow or the next day, those dates would fluctuate as well. In this case, though, I'm doing it on the 7th of the month, so I have dates of the 21st and the 4th. So I am getting paid twice a month because that's roughly 2 weeks later. Um, and then I'll probably get paid again, right? Another 15 days or somewhere between 14 and 16 days later again. It hasn't occurred yet, but it's coming up. So I can see that I am getting paid sometime in the back half of the month and then sometime in the top half of each month. So I am getting paid twice a month. So how do I know it's working correctly? Because I'm seeing the deposits. All right. And so it's got questions here about how large were the deposits, what's your checking account balance now, and so on. All right. So we're off to a good start. Switching over to savings, what's happened in our savings so far? Again, if I click over to savings, nothing has happened since I opened it, um, other than taking out that $20 from a network ATM. So I withdrew $20 cash from an ATM. We already saw that though when we first looked at that account. So I can talk about that so far. Thinking back to personal finance course, this class, you remember you should always pay yourself first. By paying yourself first, you're regularly contributing some of your income to savings. So remember, when we are budgeting, when we're planning our expenses, we talked about PYF, pay yourself first, always putting money away into savings first before you take care of any other expenses to ensure that you're taking care of your future self. Whether that is creating an emergency fund for unexpected costs, whether that is putting money aside for future goals, whatever the case is, we want to be contributing to money into our savings every time that we get paid or every month. All right. And so the easiest way to do that is to automate it because if you rely on just kind of remembering every month, there might be times where you're either tempted not to move that money over to savings or you forget. But we can, with online banking, we can automate that so that at the first of every month, right, we could move X number of dollars from our checking to our savings, or we could set it up where every time I get paid, I move a little bit over from my checking into my savings. So when it's asking about what frequency, in this case, I'm getting paid twice a month. So I may move some money from each paycheck over from checking account to savings account. That might be one. Maybe it's just one time every month. So maybe it's the first day of the month. I'm always moving some money from checking to savings, whatever the case is. So it's just talking about setting something up. Now, to create that automated transfer. So it says use the make a transfer feature to set up a recurring transfer of $60 to your savings account starting immediately. So whether you want to do $60 every month or $30 twice a month, right? I'm going to just, for simplicity, I'm going to do $60 every month. Okay. Recurring just means it's continuing to occur in the future on a regular basis. So if I come over here, I can come to transfer, make a transfer, payment frequency. I'm going to either a single, right, I could either do a single one-time transfer or monthly transfer would be recurring. Okay, if I wanted to do multiple, if I want to do twice a month, right, maybe after every paycheck, I would set up two separate monthly transfers. I'd set one up for maybe the 5th of the month after my first payment, and then I'd set up another one maybe the 20th of the month after I get paid a second time. All right, in this case, I'm just going to do what was $60. I'm going to do all $60 each month. All right, so I'm going to transfer from checking to savings in the amount of $60 starting immediately. So the date of the simulation, we remember we've moved 1 month ahead. So starting the first day that I can within the simulation. Okay, so that day matches. Click save. All right, I get a little notification that transfer has been saved. Now, if I come back here, view account, notice that that transfer has already occurred, that $60 has instantaneously been transferred out. The circle icon, again, shows that it's a recurring or repeating transaction. And then if I click over into savings, I can see that the $60 was deposited into that account. So that looks great. So it asks what my current balances are now. Now, we've got some bills to pay. So I'm going to navigate to the pay bill tab. So over here, bills, I need to pay a bill. Right? It says you want to freshen up your look. You subscribe to a wonderful wardrobe clothing subscription, $28 a month. You can't be bothered to remember to pay on time every month. So you set up an automatic payment. Use the drop down menus to set up your monthly payment. The payment is due the 5th day of every month. Now, usually when you set up an automatic payment from your checking account, all right, what happens is the bank actually physically mails a check on your behalf. We talked about the float time of a check, or I guess we haven't talked about it yet, but we will talk about something called the float time of a transaction, particularly the float time of a check. That is the time between when the check is written and when it's actually deposited by the receiver, the payee of that check. All right. And so oftentimes that float time can be several days, especially if the check is being mailed. In this case, there's a question, why is it important to know that it will take 5 business days? Usually the online bank will say, please schedule it with X number of days in advance to allow for that float time, to allow for us to cut the check, mail it, for them to receive it and process it, and so on. Right. So if I know that it needs at least 5 business days for Wonderful Wardrobe to receive my check, okay, and the payment is due on the 5th of the month, I need to make sure that I'm scheduling it at least early enough that the Wonderful Wardrobe company has received it by the 5th of every month. So I'm probably going to need to mail it out maybe a couple of days before the end of the previous month. So again, it's going to ask me to set this up. So I'm going to pay from my checking frequency every month. Recipient, now I don't have any, so I need to add a recipient. And in this case, it is Wonderful Wardrobe. Just, it's going to suggest fictitious addresses. Go ahead and just keep that as it is. Submit that. All right. Now I could, okay, set the payment date. It says as early as 5 days from now. Bill will be scheduled in the next 5 days. So because it sometimes takes a few days to set it up and get going, okay, they often don't let you set it up for the same day or within a day or two. In this case, they say the earliest that I could make that payment is the 12th. But then again, remember that it then needs to travel to the recipient. So it's going to, even if I set it for the 12th, not necessarily going to be received by the 12th. So if the payment is due on the 5th of every month, right, I shouldn't put the payment date on the 5th. I probably want to back it up enough so that that 5 days is incorporated into the timing of it. So I'm going to back it up 1 week to the 28th. So it gives me plenty of time. Now you might push it back till the 29th, 30th, whatever. Okay, I'm just going to do that to be safe. And the amount was $28 each time. I'll submit that. Okay, again, I get this notification that that's saved. All right, and now if I go home, I can see that my upcoming bills, I've got my payment to Wonderful Wardrobe coming up on the 28th of this month, then Streamway Videos coming up again, and then at the end of the next month, again, that $28. So I can see that those are now set up and will be recurring payments. All right. You've got your driver's license. You want to pay for your insurance to No Risk Insurance Company for the first 6 months premium of $550. Sooner you pay, the sooner you can start driving. All right. So it says from the pay bill page, use the drop-down menus to set up a single payment to No Risk Insurance for the earliest date. Again, incorporating that 5 days. All right. Add the recipient, frequency, date, and amount, and then click submit. All right, so I'm going to go to the Pay Bill tab again, and I'm going to set up a new payment, this to No Risk Insurance Company for $550. All right, and I want it for the earliest possible date. And again, it says likely 5 days later, and it does indeed say it has to be scheduled at least 5 days out. So my payment frequency is just going to be a single payment to the recipient. The only one that I've entered so far is Wonderful Wardrobe. That's not what I want. I need to enter No Risk Insurance. All right. Again, it provides a fictitious address. The amount that I need to pay is $550. Submit. Okay, great. Come back home. It is now scheduled. All right. And we're ready to go. After the payment has been scheduled, use the blue calendar to advance 5 days to the payment date. You should now be 1 month and 5 days ahead from when we started. So I need to come up here and I'm going to advance 5 days to the 12th. And that's when that payment is scheduled. So now I can see that the payment went through. So I advance there, 2950. All right, I can see that that 550 came out. My automatic transfer to savings has come out. My payment to Streamway Video. Okay, so everything is looking great so far. Savings, I'm still at 290. All right. Oh, you receive a text message telling you to check your notifications. If I come up here, Notice that this little icon, okay, tells me that that notification tells me I have something in my notifications. If I come in here, all right, I see that I've got a notification there. All right. And so on and so on. So follow these steps. I'm not going to walk through everything. Obviously, I've gone a lot quicker than what you probably will go through as you're doing this, but follow the steps, all right, in order. Okay, don't jump ahead. Make sure that you're doing every single thing in order. Otherwise, you might not have the same experience. You might not get the right dates and notifications and so on. So make sure that you're going step by step through this. All right. The last part of this is you start to set up other payments, and so it says shop till you drop. You're going to go to the shopping tab and select various items that you're going to pay. Now, obviously, this part wouldn't. There is no shopping tab in an actual online bank, right? If you have an account through a credit union or a bank, all right, you're not going to do your shopping through that online portal. You would actually go out and make those purchases. We can't do that through here. So it's incorporating the shopping that you would likely do throughout the month into this tab. So this part is a little bit of a stretch just because we're trying to incorporate some shopping into the simulation. But just know in an actual online or a mobile banking app or interface, there wouldn't be a shopping option. All right, but we're going to go through shopping. It's going to tell you to select certain items and then allow you to make some choices of your own. And then there's some reflection questions at the end. All right, so make sure that you go through all of this. I will post a follow-up video walking through, again, what your numbers should look like and so on, all the way up until this point. Obviously, once we get to the shopping area, everything is going to be more personalized. There's not going to be necessarily a right or wrong answer from that point on. But I'll do a little walkthrough, a little bit more in depth, so that you can kind of make sure after the fact that you did it correctly and you had the correct experience and you were able to utilize this online banking feature. All right, so get this done, complete it, submit it into Schoology, and then we will talk again soon. See everybody.